All right, y'all. We're back again with a video. This one is what is success in the black community? Pretty much, what does success look like for us? You know, when do you sit there and say, "Oh, I've succeeded" or "I'm successful"? I have some talking points that I'm going to get into, but first, obviously, you can see on the screen. I just googled successful people, and the first picture on the top left, in the left corner, obviously that's Michelle Obama, who was the first quote unquote black first woman of the United States by any measurement. Yes, I'm sure that is definitely success. A black person living in the White House. But as we go on and look at these photos, you can see overwhelmingly there are Caucasian men in these photos. And again, this is just a simple Google search of successful people. Now, you will see Oprah and Michael Jordan and MJ, but for the most part, the overwhelming majority, even in these generic photos, are of Caucasian people. Oh, see it, brother. Okay, there we go. Famous, successful people. See, we got those two. And then that's about it. And are there only two successful or three successful? Or I guess if you're going to count Obama and Michelle, are five successful black people in America? Is that the case? How is success being measured? How do you measure success? Well, let's go and do a quick search on that. Success, not images. The accomplishment of an aim or purpose. So based on this Google definition of the word success, if you accomplish an aim or purpose, or i.e. a goal, then that is success. You are successful in said accomplishment. Now, in terms of measuring people and how successful someone is as a person, obviously this definition here doesn't really apply. So now we must ask ourselves, what is success? Now, me growing up in Brooklyn and then now living out in Jersey, there's some people back where I'm from that would say that my family was a successful black family because, we made it out the hood. Now, that's the reality for me. Now we see this portrayed often in film and also in books. There's the story of the family that made it out the hood, and that was the goal. That was the goal, to get out the hood, and you want to get out the hood because you want to have more opportunities for your kids, and you don't want your kids to be, the downtrodden and stuff like that. So that's the goal, to get out the hood, right? And like I said, my family, my mother, with the help of our family and my stepfather, moved us out of Brooklyn into New Jersey, Woodbridge, New Jersey, which, for those of you who don't know, is a suburb in New Jersey. It's in the greater New York area. You can get to New York City in about 30 to 40 minutes. So it's not that far from the city, but it's night and day from the city. For anyone that has been to the city. Now, moving on, also what we see in these movies and in life is, graduating high school, like that's a success story, or getting out of a gang, that's a success story. And all these things, like that. There's other things. I'm sure I'm definitely missing a few, but I know you guys get the gist. So I say this to say, one, like the bar of success, and from my perspective, from what I see in movies and what I hear about and what I read about and what I see through my own eyes in my own life, the bar for success in the black community is, dare I say, misplaced. It's definitely misplaced, and it's in other places, in other instances, it is way too low. um, for the bar of success to be to graduate high school, that should be an expectation. That should be the norm. That should be the base level norm. If we're talking about base level, that should be that. Graduating high school, um, you know, maybe, getting out of a gang. Well, you shouldn't be in the gang, So once we start to make exceptions for these things and just accept it, like, oh well, a lot of us are just going to join gangs and stuff like that, then yes, you put these obstacles in front of yourself. But if you don't succumb to those obstacles to begin with, you don't have to deal with that, and then you can reach your base level successes. All right, and then you can be on the path to becoming a successful human being and a member of society, and more importantly, a member of your community and culture. All right, I hope you guys are with me right now, because I'm about to just keep on going in. So again, the bar is misplaced, and it's very low. You know, is it a good thing to graduate high school? Yes, but if you glorify it, like, oh my God, yeah, you graduated high school, woo, woo, bring out the fireworks and everything like that. Like, no. That's base. That should be that's not the exception. That's the rule. That should be everybody, everybody. And if you don't, then yes, it should be met with great scrutiny. That instead of the opposite, we have the opposite effect right now. The high school dropout rates for quote unquote blacks. Let's look at it. Actually, since I have the phone here, last updated February 2019 from 2000 to 2016, Hispanic status dropout rate decreased from 27 to 8, while the black rate decreased from 13 to 6. That's good. That's actually better than I thought it would be. So that means that we're not dropping out at a high rate anymore. From 13 to 6. 13% is a lot. Jesus Christ. To 6%, that's much better. But also, we have to keep in mind, what are these kids graduating with? What are their GPAs? Are they being set up for success? Are they being forced to try to go to college when maybe that's not for them? Are they being told about all the different opportunities that they have in their community and in different trade schools that they can get into? Become their own boss, and then start their own job, employ their own people. I doubt these kids are being instructed on all of that. But I digress. So back to my next point, and I want to keep this success stuff, that way I can keep coming back to it. So a common theme is, we got to get out the hood. We got to be successful. We got to move out and live in the suburbs next to a whole bunch of people, and not successful. You made it. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And again, like that, I lived that. My family literally moved from Bedford-Stuyvesant to Woodbridge, New Jersey, and you can't have much more of a stark difference and between those two. So, excuse me. Now that makes me think that obviously the Caucasian people are being used or are the litmus test for success in the eyes of black people, because you get money, whatever, you get a nice job, then what you want to do is you want to buy the cars that the white people are driving, and then you want to live amongst the white people. The first thing you want to do is you want to move away from your people to go live by people that don't look like you. And quite honestly, quite frankly, the majority of them probably don't want you around them anyway. And that is just interesting to me, because I believe that many of our people feel more comfortable or would feel more comfortable living amongst Caucasian people than living with their own people. Now I know some people might be out there saying, well, I mean, the hood is dangerous. Yes, I understand that firsthand. Believe me. Yes, it is dangerous. But if we look at it like the hood is our home, what are you gonna do? Just leave your home every time it falls into disarray? You're gonna buy a new home every time, or are you gonna fix, patch up these walls in your home, rip up that carpet and put down some wood floors, be accountable for your environment, for your setting, and take ownership of that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy to get money and get up and move. It's easy to do that. But what does that do for the infrastructure, for societal infrastructure? What does that do? Besides show people that, hey, get money and leave, get out. You know? Now, obviously, my mother, she went and got out. So some people might think that maybe I can't speak on this because obviously I don't live in the hood anymore. Would I go back to live in the hood? It depends on circumstances, you know? Right now, it's too damn expensive. It doesn't make any goddamn sense. And that's because of, gentrification, obviously. And that's a topic for a whole nother day. But, yeah, it's way too expensive, and I will get less for my money. So from a fiscal standpoint, no. I want more for my money. I want land. I want property. Growing up in the hood and not having no land, not having no property, not having no grass in front of your house, it made me want that. I want that. I want to be able to see and distinctly say what is mine and what is not mine, as opposed to living in the hood. You don't really, get that luxury. So it's more or less like an economic perspective that I'm viewing it from, as opposed to, demographic wise. Am I afraid to live in the hood? No, I'm not afraid to live in the hood. There's dangers everywhere. There's dangers where I live. There could be a rogue Caucasian man out here that just wants to freaking, blast me one day for whatever reason. He got laid off or whatever the case may be. That can happen anywhere. You can be on the wrong block in the hood, and then, you can get shot by a stray bullet, whatever. It happens, So, no, it's not out of fear. For other people, I don't know what their motivations would be. But what it appears to me is that they feel safer or more comfortable living amongst Caucasians, and they view Caucasians as a litmus test for success. I live around white people. I live around white people. I drive this car. My kids go to white schools and stuff like that. So this is success. And no, we need to stop with that. That is not success. And I'm going to get to what success is towards the end of this video. All right. But the question that I ask these people are, if you don't want to live in the hood, in your neighborhood, and then you want to go live with the whites, quote unquote, and you feel more comfortable amongst them, then what do you think the whites feel when you come? Like, if you don't even want to be by your own people, now you come in to live amongst these people, and they look at you and they don't want you, but then y'all get mad about that. Y'all get mad, like, oh man, that's messed up. That ain't right. You're trying to force yourself on the people, but then you don't even want to be amongst your own people. So why the hell would they want you to be among them? And I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, hoorah for the white supremacists at all. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying when you just look at it from an objective point of view, if you don't want to live by people that look like you, you don't feel safe or comfortable around people that look like you, and you want to get out to be considered successful, and you move out to a white neighborhood, and they're looking at you like, what the hell is going on with our neighborhood? How could you really get mad at them when you already have such a low view of yourself? You have to look at the people in your neighborhood as if you're looking at yourself in the mirror, because you see the people in the neighborhood and you could distinguish between who they are and whatnot. But a white person can't look at you and distinguish that. When the white person looks at you, it's like when most people look at Asian people. They don't know. They'll probably just sit there and call them Chinese. And that person might be Taiwanese or, not Filipino. I think Filipinos have a very distinct look, but maybe Japanese, but you get the gist. So anyway, we can't expect other people, especially other races, to do things and be more receptive of certain things if we ourselves are not. And also, on top of that, are not willing to try to change the situation. Yet instead we run to the quote-unquote white man, the quote-unquote oppressor, as many of you super wokey wokes out there like to call them. And I get that super wokey woke term from Chronicles of Judah 144. He has a YouTube page. Great brother. I've dropped his name on here a few times. If you guys have time, definitely check him out. If you like like the content that I bring, I'm sure that you'll definitely love his content. So anyway, back to my point. Most black neighborhoods, aka the hood, the ghetto, are, they're dangerous, like I said. But why are they dangerous? Like, let's get to the roots. Let's start looking for some solutions. Why are these neighborhoods dangerous? Now, just a few reasons off the top of the dome. There's a lot of violence there. There's a lot of gang violence there. There's a lot of drugs there. A lot of liquor stores. A lot of broken homes. A lot of fatherless homes. A lot of children being raised to single parents, to single mothers for that matter. Absentee fathers for different reasons, and that's a whole nother video for a different day that I could get into all the reasons why the quote unquote black man isn't in the home. I know most people would like to just say, oh, because he ain't shit, yada yada yada, but no, there's a reason, and there's a systematic reason on top of that. But so, like I said, you have the gang violence, you have the guns, you have drugs, all this stuff. And then you have this, what y'all like to call the culture. The culture. Do it for the culture. The culture is actually like corrosive to our community, because the culture, consists of no snitching, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? The street code. Snitches get stitches. So if somebody out here, some coon, because y'all like to call people like me coons. But y'all the real coons. The ones that, like, oh, nah, no snitching, no snitching. So, yeah, let this motherfucker, sell all these drugs to these kids, right? Let this motherfucker rob some people, gunpoint, terrorize the damn neighborhood, shoot somebody over some stupid shit, but no snitching. No, so we're gonna enable that. By extension, we should be able to put the whole black community on trial, as an accessory to its own demise. Because that's what you essentially become when you embrace mantras like that. Like, oh, snitches get stitches, no snitching. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And I get it. I grew up in the hood. Like, that was the code. I lived by it. But I'm at a point right now where it's not helping us. It's hurting us. And my love for us and to see us in a greater capacity and in the near future outweighs that silly ass street code. That street code is not a real code. It's some real low level shit. You know who says that? Don't snitch. Siblings say that. Oh, don't tell. Because they're doing some real dumb kid shit. Okay? And when you're as a kid, you act like a kid, and you do as a kid, like Paul said, you speak as a kid. But when you're an adult, you don't do that anymore. And most of the quote unquote black community, they have grown up physically and matured physically. But when it comes to mentally and spiritually, they are still little kids. Kids. You have kids raising kids out here. Even if the father is around, he's most likely still a kid. Very rarely are you going to have an astute, black man in the house running his stuff in the hood. It's sad to say, but it's more often than not that it'll be a single black woman with a house full of kids, probably, a few different baby daddies. And it's not to sit here and sound, snobby or as if I'm, it's not to be condescending. It's just, that's the reality. And if you don't like that, then the truth isn't for you, period. Because you can look these things up, there's no secret. But anyway, back to the point. This whole culture, it's not a real culture. And what it does is it leads to lawlessness, no accountability. Like, it's just the norm. Again, the bar is set so low that it's the norm to have more than one baby mother. That's the norm. It's the norm to have kids and not be married. So, because the bar is set so low. We allow the bar to be set that low. And we also allow it when we allow it to be portrayed in film often, all the time. Like, oh, that's the culture. That's what are we supposed to do? No, it's setting the bar so damn low, and you allow obstacles to be put in your way that shouldn't be. That shouldn't be. Having two baby mothers, that's an obstacle. That's an obstacle, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you're Jeff Bezos. That's still an obstacle. Okay, because that's less money for you. That's less productivity for you. Now, if you want to have two wives in order, living under the same roof, hey, that's fine. That's fine. But if you have two different baby mothers and you got to deal with that, oh no, please, man. There's nothing orderly about that. Okay, and only that's just chaotic. All right, chaotic, and I don't wish that upon anybody. But more often than not, in the hood, you see a lot of this. Dudes that be having 1, 2, 3 different baby mamas, man. All these different kids. That's crazy. And these kids, they grow up to hate men, especially to hate black men, and resent you because these women are teaching them, hey, nah, I don't know, man. Fuck this nigga, this, that, and the third. Or nothing but, disrespectful words for our black men. And don't get me wrong, a lot of them are acting like a bunch of big kids out there anyway and are deserving of such. But that is not order. So because these kids witness all this nonsense and just like it's like a free-for-all, then when they grow up, that's what they know. So that is in turn how they act and conduct themselves. So I hope you all are still with me here. I'm giving a lot right now, but this is huge. This is huge, and it's not even a lot. Like when in terms of actually like implementing it is not a lot. It's not like I'm over here telling you like 500 level course material. This is real basic stuff. We allow things to be our obstacle when we sit here and say, oh, like the norm is to have multiple baby mothers. The norm is to not live with any of your kids. The norm is to have been arrested at least twice or at least one time. That's the norm. Then when that's the norm, that's what's going to happen. And the community itself is going to push you towards that. Now, all of these things are, detrimental to our growth and success as a community. But we are trapped in this loop. Because again, the music, the movies, and just day to day, we have to restore a family, like a nuclear family. The Black Lives Matter movement, they are against the nuclear family. They've said it time and time again, and so obviously the Black Lives Matter movement, Black lives don't matter to them. In my opinion, based off of my observations, they do not care about Black lives. They use that because it's catchy. And it'll get people sucked on in. But that's just a Marxist movement. And they said it, which is communist. And as we all know, as we all should know, that shit doesn't work. It doesn't work. And they don't give a fuck about the black man, let alone the black family. Because they wouldn't be trying to break it apart. Like they said, they wanted to break down the nuclear family. It was on their website. They changed it recently, but it was still there. It was there. Like, this isn't me just making some shit up. This isn't people that you hear saying this stuff just being conspiracy theorists. No, this is real motherfucking life. Real shit. Excuse my language, but like, y'all gotta get with the program or get lost. So, back to the main point. Sorry I keep going off, man, but this is some real stuff. All right. So anyway, we don't have any accountability. And, obviously, the Democratic Party has done a great job of handicapping the black family by incentivizing the black woman to leave the black man and in turn receive Uncle Sam. Now, I'm sure most of y'all get that already, but for those of you who don't get it, that means leave the black man, because if y'all together, y'all can have two incomes. Y'all could raise these kids together. And don't get me wrong, it's probably not going to be the most ideal of situations if you're struggling. You know what I'm saying? Say one of you, you only got a high school diploma out of one of you. It might be, it more than likely will be difficult, but it can be done. And you have to stick together through the ups and downs, especially if you're married. And that's another reason why marriage is huge too. When you're not married to someone, you just leave and whatever, I got a baby by that person, yada, yada, yada. But if you're married and you actually believe in the sacrament of marriage, which is back to the spirituality purpose, if you believe in that and believe in yourself, then you will hold yourself accountable to the marriage. And you're not just going to, just leave because things get hard. Like, no, that's what it's about. It's about the hard times as well as the good times. These cliches, they aren't just cliches for no reason. Like, every day can't be sunny. So when you're married and you stick together with the black man and you have children and you stick together through the years, you go through a lot, but you know what it's gonna do? It's gonna lay the foundation for your kids to go forward and teach that same thing to their kids. And that's how you become better. Now, the next generation, they know the family dynamic and they appreciate it. So obviously, the intent is for them to echo that, and then they can build upon that. Um, if the father was a tradesman, then the son could learn a trade, and maybe they can have a business and keep it going, the business, and employ people that look like you in the neighborhood where everyone looks like you. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Uncle Sam is incentivizing these women to, lead a black man. I was talking to a guy yesterday at my job, and he was telling me how he has 2 kids, and his baby mama lives in Vermont, and obviously she's getting help, government help, and right now the relationship ain't too good. They're pretty much just like they're doing their own thing now. Now, don't get me wrong, he's still in his kid's life as much as he can be living out here in Jersey, but that shouldn't have been an option. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these women know that they have that Uncle Sam to rely on and fall back on, they have options. And when people have options, for the most part, they'll exercise said options. For the good or the bad, And for us, it puts us in a bad spot. Because, again, the incentive is you can be your own independent woman. You can have your own spot. You can do this, and then you're going to get more money on the taxes for these kids. So rather than live with your husband or your baby daddy in his mom's crib, and y'all, work it out and work towards something and, save up your money and get your own spot somewhere and do all that. And rather than do it the I don't want to say the hard way, but rather than do it in that way, you'd rather do it the Uncle Sam way. Oh, this is my crib. I got my own spot, yada, 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 yada. But at the end of the day, you're not independent. Because like I said, you just getting the money, but you don't have the man. You have Uncle Sam, who's the white man, who's the same person that you would come out and speak out fervently against. But that's the same person that you have your hand out and expecting those handouts to come on the 1st and the 15th. So we have to break that. We have to break that. And not for nothing, a lot of these women are low level. They're low level women. I'm sure that there's some high level women that listen to my videos. I'm not talking to you. If the shoe fits, wear it. If not, it ain't for you. But there are the majority are these low level women that, again, weren't taught nothing, didn't grow up with a father around for the most part. And it's just like this vicious cycle. And these low-level women don't have nothing to teach these kids who, again, like I said, all they do is teach them to resent men and that they don't need a man and that ain't no man in authority over them. And then when that's the case, that's why these black dudes, they shoot each other in the street. Because they don't respect no man. They was raised not to respect a man. Damn sure a man that looks like them. And all these issues all come back because the father's not around. All because, the father is not around. He's taken out systematically. And that hinders our success. Now, again, you can get that money, you can get a job and move out to the suburbs and, yeah, you made it. But is that successful? Is that success? Is that successful for the black community? How do we judge success? These rappers, they make it, they successful. Exploiting the places where they're from. Is that successful? Is that success? I don't think that should be how we view success. We need to change how we view success. So let me point out some things here. Success is when we change the culture that we have. This no snitching culture. This culture of eating food that is terrible for us, that gives us all, not all, but a lot of us, heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes. That's cultural food, a lot of it. And a lot of it tastes damn good. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. I love soul food. But soul food is not good for the soul, contrary to popular belief. And don't get me wrong, I love soul food. I grew up on soul food. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. But, that is part of our demise as well. And we have to, we have to strip ourselves of that. Strip ourselves of the foods that are bad for us. We're not quote unquote slaves anymore. And not all of us were slaves to begin with. I say that time and time again. But yeah, we're not slaves anymore, so we don't have to eat, the throwaways of the pig and the throwaways of the chicken. We don't have to do that anymore. We can eat better, take better care of our lives, our bodies, respect ourselves more, live longer, have a healthier brain, mind, and soul, and then we can teach more, be open more, learn more, gain greater knowledge and apply said knowledge. So yeah, that's success. Success is when we get rid of this bullshit ass culture that we got, right? Change it or adopt a healthy one that supports growth through education. And then through education, implementation. Okay? And not the education that these kids are getting in these schools now, because they ain't learning shit. They're learning a whole bunch of stuff that for the most part will not be applicable to their day-to-day lives. It won't. It will not, unless they're going to school for a master's degree or they become a teacher themselves. The majority of the stuff that they're learning in school after maybe about like 8th grade, they don't need. High school should just be vocational school, or if you're going to college, then okay, then you can take those kinds of courses. But for everybody else, it's a waste, because these kids learn all this stuff. Right? Then by the time they learn all the stuff that they're not going to use anyway, and then they're like, I'm done with school. And then any thought of school comes up and it's like, nah, that ain't for me, man. That ain't for me. And you just wasted these kids' years, because now they're 18 and they've been told their whole life, oh, when you're 18, you're an adult, and this, that, and the third. Now they're 18. The last thing they want to do is go to goddamn school to become an electrician or an HVAC engineer or whatever the case may be. And those things could be great for them. But if you taught them when their minds were young and still, 18 is still young, but younger, and they're still being able to be molded, a craft that's from 15 to 19 years old, 4 years, you're learning how to do HVAC. And now at 19, 20, you can go out and get a real job, work, do understudy, and then start your own. That's how we make successful people in our community. And then in return, our community is successful. Okay, you guys get what I'm saying? So, listen. Success is when we control our neighborhood. Okay, like for instance, in the hood, we don't control nothing. We don't control the police. Because if we did, we wouldn't be always hearing about police reform and stuff like that. How about, instead of trying to defund the police, how about you have police you that look like you? But then again, another problem why that probably won't happen right now is because Black people, especially these single, strong, independent Black women, and the dudes raised by them, the emotional dudes raised by them, they can't look at a Black man and respect him as any form of authority. That's just the sad truth. That's the sad truth. We have to change that. So success is when you control your neighborhood. For instance, the Black community, right? Whenever they start looting and stuff like that, whenever someone gets shot, and people always ask me, oh, what do you think about them looting and stuff? Yada, yada. And destroying their neighborhoods, that's what they say. Destroying their own neighborhoods. I actually laugh. I say to myself, what are these motherfucking people talking about? You know what I'm saying? And then I tell the people, they're not destroying their neighborhood. A neighborhood is something that you own. You own. Like, for instance, if I live in the neighborhood, I own my home, and I have a business, and I own that business, and I employ people in that area, then yes, I have a vetted interest. I have interest in this area. I'm a property owner. I'm a businessman of this area. I own my car, I own my own home. I vote people in and out of public office. I vote people in and out of, in the education department. So yes, this is my neighborhood. But when you don't own your home, you don't have a car, don't own a car. You rent a car. I mean, you rent a home. You take public transportation, and then I'm not inherently knocking public transportation, but just understand where I'm going with this. You don't own your home. You don't own your car. You don't own the place that you work at. You know, maybe you work at some corporate place like a McDonald's. You don't own that either, or or CVS, or one of these Walgreens, Duane Reade. Say, you know, a 7-Eleven. Something happens, and you a low level dude or low level woman, and then you get all incensed about, oh, they shooting us and killing us like dogs in the street. And then now, you know, everyone wants to go out and form a mob, and then that mob mentality kicks in. You go out. There's nothing for you to go and destroy some shit because you ain't got shit, nigga. That's why. The shit you destroying ain't yours. And you never had nothing. So you don't have that ownership mentality. See? So when you look at it from that perspective, it's very easy to understand why the hell these people do that. I'm not sitting here saying that it's right. No, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying I understand why. If you never own nothing in your life, then you cannot empathize or sympathize. Actually, both. You can't empathize or sympathize with how someone would feel to see rocks being thrown through their windows of their home or their business. Because you don't own nothing. See, that's a very, very sorry place to be in. Not owning nothing, not having that mentality. We have to change our mentality and become owners and not just, you know, consumers. We consume. You know, we're the biggest consumer group in the nation. We have money, but we don't own shit. We control what I think it was 1% of the overall wealth in the country. 1%, and that's including Oprah, Jay-Z, Michael Jordan. You know, that's including all these motherfuckers. 1%. I actually think it's less than 1%. But anyway, we have to change the culture and become owners. We have to change the culture to become rulers. But first, we have to implement that in our community. And that's how we become successful. When you lead a successful home, and then from your home, you grow successful people. And when we all do that, and our community is successful, then yes, that is successful. That's success. But as long as you run to the suburbs, and again, like I said, my mother, she runs to the suburbs. But you don't really, you're not successful. Because you never learned anything. You never went through your, what's it called? Back in the old days when people would have to go through something like a trial to become a man. Rites of passage. You never went through your rites of passage. You just left. So you never developed the skills needed to overcome that and become better. To transform to graduate into a better person with higher knowledge. Okay, so this video has gone longer than I thought. Not as long as some of my videos are, but for the most part, guys, just the success. We need to change how we view success. We need to change a lot, first and foremost. But we need to start moving that bar up. That bar of success, move it up. Graduating high school it shouldn't be, you know, the end all be all success, you know. And just going to college shouldn't be the end all be all for success either. Because most of y'all that just go to college, you drop out anyway because you shouldn't be going to college. You know, maybe you should be, you know, you should have went to music school. Maybe you should have went to school to be a carpenter. Maybe everything's not for everybody. So we need to strip away what the other races tell us is success. You know, and strip away our emotion to these films that come out that portray us in this way. Am I saying that the directors of the film are bad people? No, they're not. You know, art imitate life. They are creating what they see. So we need to take control and change what they see. Therefore, they can create another picture that properly shows us as who we are. Now, again, I know there's people, you know, like. Not everyone lives a lifestyle that's depicted in these movies. Yes, I understand that. We get that. And yes, they do focus on that stuff. But that's another reason why we have to change the culture within these quote-unquote communities. Okay? But you cannot have a black community because as far as I'm concerned, black is a color. And if you have a black community, then you have a blue community, a yellow community, a red community, and all the colors of the motherfucking rainbow. And that's just not the case. Okay? So again, stop with the calling each other black. Let's get a real community based off a healthy culture and then cultivate our young people. Take back over the household. Put the black man back in charge. Okay, he needs to lead. All right, he needs to lead. That is what we are here for, to lead. And again, I know there's going to be a lot of you feminists out there, or quote unquote feminists, that are going to have something to say about that. But look, before you come clickety clacking to me, just look at the state of being of the quote unquote black community. Y'all been quote unquote leading us for over 50 years, damn near. So if you got a problem with what I'm saying, do you also have a problem with where we are right now? Okay. So with that being said, y'all, it's been real, and I'm out. Please also, please like, share, subscribe these videos if you like them. Send them to somebody else, and leave some comments and some feedback. 'Cause I'm always open to hear what people got to say, or if anyone wants me to talk about something else. I'm all ears. But anyway, peace.